you can probably tell we're still on lockdown for this week's webinar, or what we're starting to call episode or show, maybe even, which kind of keeps us entertained, at least internally at Squarebox. So today, what we're going to do, let me move this over. What we're going to do is talk about creative collaboration with CatDV Web3. So clearly, we're pretty excited about our Web3 product. And when thinking about putting together this show, we were thinking, okay, we want to be able to showcase the fact that it's got this cool new look, that it's mobile and tablet friendly, and just kind of step through all the features. And we thought, actually, that would be a bit boring. We thought we'd lose the audience and people would drop off, either fall asleep or just fall off the webinar. So we decided to try something a bit different, and so what we are going to do is to try and talk about creative collaboration using CatDV Web 3. Oh, look, I'm floating. That's quite cool. Creative collaboration with CatDV Web 3, doing some typical things that folks do with our platform, but using Web 3 as the vehicle to showcase how it all works. So what we're going to try and do is to run through the workflow above my head. So we're going to first off in pre-production, and we're going to plan our project and create that in CatDV. We're going to ingest some content, and we're going to make a proxy, Md5, and then do some stuff with archiving so that we safely store that in some cloud storage, S3. We're going to do some tagging, and that's going to be asset-based tagging manually, time-based tagging, so markers and such like. And we're going to take a look at some simple AI for video tagging, or image tagging, as well as for markers, so transcripts, essentially. We'll run through some of the capabilities of being able to find stuff, so it's one of CatDV's big strengths. So being able to browse content, search content, and then store content, I think, from an archive that we looked at earlier. We'll be going through content creation, doing an edit, doing a little render using our Premiere panel, which we showcased a few weeks ago. And then we'll move into approval. And there's two stages of that, a little bit on QC. CatDV is not a QC application in its entirety, but a lot of people do make good use of it because of its quality control and quality assurance capabilities. And then a formal review and approve, yes, no kind of thing. Before we then deliver content to other platforms and share it with other folks. So we think that's a reasonable, attempt at creative collaboration. We've had quite a lot of fun putting it together. To be honest, it's a little more ambitious than we've ever been in any of these, so we'll see how it all goes. So I guess what I should do at this point then is hand over to Matthew, who is going to kick us off and plan our project for us.
Thanks, Dave. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see what I'm doing. I just want to say I've had 1 week off the webinars, and Dave and Brian go ahead and invent their own TV station. So welcome to the CatDV Broadcast Centre. Here we are. And it's worth noting that one of the strengths of CatDV compared to other products is that we don't lock you into a particular workflow or a particular way of doing things. This makes it a very powerful asset management platform. So today we're going to look at one way of doing things, but this isn't to say that this is the only way that you've got to do things with CatDV. We're not locking you into doing things this way. And as always, we'd recommend you have a chat to one of our sales team if you want to discuss any specific requirements that you may have. So today I'm going to work on an episode of CatDV's flagship program, CatDV on Safari. So I'm going to log into my Web3 interface. So those of you who've been joining our webinars, you'll already be familiar with this interface. But for those of you that haven't, I'm just going to ask Dave to put himself on mute for a moment, if that's all right. But for those of you that aren't familiar with our interface, here it is. We've spent quite a lot of time reworking this, not reinventing the wheel, but reworking the way our interface looks to make it more responsive and mobile. So I've got my menu along the left here. So I've got my catalogues, which I can access. For those of you who are new to CatDV, and I know some people who've been joining the webinars, they don't have systems already. So just to explain some basic terminology, a catalogue is our sort of basic unit of collection. So that's where we can put assets or clips in a catalogue. Then we've also got things that we'll look at throughout the presentation, such as smart folders clip lists and filters. And basically, filters just allow us to drill down in the content. So for my particular production, I've decided that I'm going to organize my footage by shoot date. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something that we've got called the project tool to help build my catalog for me. And this project tool is just a really useful way of collecting metadata as we go along, so that we don't need to add that in at a later date. So we're going to make an episode of CatTV on Safari. So it's going to be Series 1, Episode 1. The director, of course, it's going to be me, Matthew Wilson. I know Dave wanted that spot, but it was already taken. So there you go. I'm just going to put in the shoot date. So it's today's shoot. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a catalogue for me where I can start filing my footage. So if we have a look here, you'll see I've got a couple of production groups. Again, just to explain for people who are new to CatDV, a production group is a way of lumping catalogues together so that I can segment my content. I might want to segment that across users or for different reasons. So what I've got here is I've got my production assets. So there I've got some standard, CatDV or CatTV branding, some stock photography, things like that. And then I've got my footage production group, which is where I'm going to create my projects and my download days or shoot footages. So here I have a sort of empty catalogue, it's sort of the basic unit of organising things in CatDV. So the first thing I need to do is get some footage in there. So today I'm going to use the web upload tool. So I can just press this big plus button here, and this is going to allow me to upload some footage. As a very responsible cameraman, obviously I keep all my footage in the downloads folder on my computer. So we need to get it out of there pretty pronto and into a nice secure system like CatDV where it'll be nice and backed up. So I've got some footage of a cat here. Interestingly enough, at the point that I'm uploading the files, I can actually add some metadata. So I can say that the particular animal here is a cat, and I can pick a cameraman as well. So I filmed this particular footage, and this is going to be a cat. So I can set that off uploading, and it's going to upload to my CatDV server. And when it's finished uploading, it's going to do a couple of things. So CatDV uses a system of notifications, basically to communicate between the different components of the system. And these notifications are going to give us status updates. So you'll see my clip has appeared here. This is one of the views, thumbnail view. I've also got a sort of grid style view that I can view here. You'll see at the moment it's building the proxy. So it's actually transcoding there in the background to build the proxy for me. This is going to be a H.264 web proxy that I can use for previewing this piece of footage. We also have the film strip view here as well, which is quite cool. Some people really like this because you can just see some keyframe shots and things like that as well that come in. So I've got these notifications, and if I go and look, you'll see that I now have a playable proxy. So I've uploaded the file, I've got a playable proxy already. And you'll notice that if I look in this catalogue as well, I get these sort of traffic light indicators. So at the moment, this one is showing me that the full res file or the high res file is online, and also I've got a green light for the proxy as well. But as you can see here from my archive status field, this clip is not currently archived. Now, it's entirely possible that you could build into your workflow, archive on ingest or a policy-based archive rule. I haven't gone for that today. What I wanted to show you is sort of some manual archive workflows, but this is the flexibility of CatDV. You can choose your business rules. It's your system, your data, your media. We want to fit around your business rules. We don't want to force you into a particular way of doing things. And what I'm going to use is I've got an S3 bucket up in Amazon, and that's what I'm going to use as my archive. So we have an Amazon S3 plugin. All I need to do is using this tools menu up here at the top, I can basically say schedule copy to Amazon S3, and that's going to queue that file, and it's going to transfer it up to Amazon S3. I can actually monitor the status of that here as well. So you can see I've got my upload job. It's gone already. It was quite a small file, so it's been uploaded. I can see that that's completed. But if this was a large transfer, you can get sort of percentage updates here as well as that's going. So if I go back to my catalog now, you should see that I've now got a nice green archive status telling me that clip has gone up into the cloud. And if I look at the archive tab here, I can get the more important metadata about where that is living specifically in Amazon S3. note I don't think I mentioned, but something we do when we ingest the file is we generate an MD5 hash. This is important so we can take the identity of the file going into the system, and then when we're doing operations such as archive or moving files around the system, then we can be sure that the copy is complete as well. It's very easy. If I want to purge the high res, all I need to do is under the tools menu, I can basically say purge local files. This is a safe operation, so the plugin itself will only do that if the file has been archived. So it won't allow you to do that if the file hasn't been archived, basically. You'll see now I've got a red light there showing me that my high-res media has gone offline. And to bring that back from archive, it's just a case of saying schedule restore from Amazon S3. It's going to initiate another transfer for me, which I can monitor in the queue, and it should come back. And you'll see the high-res file has come online again now. So there is metadata that you can see about this. So you can see how many times something's been archived, and you can see the status there of restore complete. So that's a bit of an archive workflow. When now I've finished ingesting my content, as all good media managers know, it's time for me to do some logging. Well, I'm not going to do that logging. I'm going to get my trusty edit assistant Dave to do that for me, otherwise known as the CEO of Squarebox Systems. And Dave's got a sort of queue of things where he's going to do his logging. So now this clip's ready. I've got this action here ready for logging. So I'm going to set that and save the asset, and then I'm going to hand over to Dave to do the next bit.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So let me get this all queued up. I'll move over there, do that, and do that with good luck. Hey! Okay, so here's me. I'm, of course, logging on my iPad. And so I'm going to log myself in first off. And let me just get through here. Yeah, jolly good. Dave the logger. Cool. So I'm going to log in, and so what I can see here, here's my view of CatDV on the iPad. Looks pretty similar to what we were just looking at on the browser interface that Matthew was showing us. We can expand stuff out. So as a logger, then I have a special place to go and look for my work, essentially. So it's a smart folder. A smart folder is a way of grouping content based on that metadata. And you can see we've got a few things in here. We've got some best shots, some stuff ready for logging, and we'll move on to the approval stuff later. But the logging queue, that's what I want to look at. And we have this amazing cat footage. You'll notice that the director of this production is not very good at his animals, given that it's an animal production. I mean, it is, I guess, generically a cat, but it's not, in my words, I wouldn't call it a cat. So I'm going to correct that to, say, leopard. Cool. And then I can play my content. So here we go. Pretty nice. A little bit of a shout out actually to Line Mountain Media. So we did a bit of a deal where we swapped intellectual property, and we have the rights to use this cool content. Let me move on a bit. This cool content in our demos and shows. So it's really cool. So cool. In fact, I'm going to rate this content as 5 stars and say, okay, so this is going to be my leopard eating fish clip, so some free text editing, and then you can see the metadata that had already been entered. So Matthew had given us our camera operator already. I'm going to say there's lots of different camera angles, so I'm going to put that stuff in. It's at dawn, and I'm going to say it's sunny, simply so that you can see that stuff where my head is in the way. I guess I could turn the iPad the other way around. Okay, and then you can see some of the responsive stuff going on in CatDV where the metadata has now fallen below the movie, so that we can see as much as possible useful stuff on the screen. So maybe I'll make that cloudy. Cool. So some of the other cool things I might want to do as a very responsible logger is I might want to do some time-based logging. So if I go to my player, then some of the first things you can do, you can say, actually, I'm going to trim this clip. There's a whole lot of stuff at the beginning, some pre-roll that I'm just not really interested in. So I'm going to mark an in point over there, and then around the end there, I'm going to say I mark an out point. You can hopefully see there are slightly different color shading on the bar there, play bar, so you can see that we have a that clip has its own in and out point. Very cool. And then as the content's playing, oh, that was a cool shot, yes. As the content's playing, I can then do a load of other things on the timeline and do other time-based logging, as you'd expect with a product like CatDV. And we can create a marker, for example. I like that one. Great shot. Cool. We'll have that. And so now we've got a marker. You can see there it is in the timeline. That's really cool. So I could do some other things, actually. So if I really wanted to, I could make myself a subclip. So we can say, okay, we've got this long-form content, if you like, and we're going to take several segments out of it for some of the exciting bits of the action and create subclips in CatDV. So logical clips rather than real pieces of media on a file system somewhere that represent these best bits or these sub shots within that piece of master media. So we could be doing that. And we could also be doing range-based markers. So from that in and out point that I previously created, I could create myself a range-based marker. It's not a speech one, this one. Okay, I'll call it a speech one. I haven't got that set up. But I can have a range-based marker with some text in, which will then respect those links as well. So we can have range-based markers and we can have point-based markers. I think I probably pressed cancel by mistake because that didn't work. So cool. So again, what am I going to do now? I'm going to say that I have finished my logging. So I'm going to tick my logging complete button, and I'm going to save that back to the system, refresh CatDV, and go to my smart folder for my logging queue. And you can see there's no more work for me to be done in there. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's what you think, Dave. While you've been doing that, I've been busy uploading some more clips for you.
Some more clips, so great. I'll look forward to that. But then, being the logger that I am a little bit lazy. And so what I'd quite like to do is to have something else do it for me. And so we've set up a little workflow here that does some AI auto tagging. So if I've got my some content here, let's see, cool, this one. What I might want to do, I'm going to go into portrait again, so I'm not on top of this poor alligator, or maybe it's a crocodile. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask CatDV to auto tag that. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to go out to one of the AI vendors out there, and go into this view, and then we can see down here, you can see our, oh, it's behind my head, that's not so good. Let me get rid of me. So behind my head, we can see that there's a task in progress for this alligator clip, 15.jpg, where it is doing some AI-based tagging for me. Now, okay, here we go. It's come back, and you can probably see it's saying it's a landmark. Okay, that's not so good, but it's not so bad on the description here. A close-up of a reptile, animal reptile, small sitting cat, maybe not so much. But, you know, this is the kind of stuff that we get back from our AI partners. I'm not sure, Matthew. Are we going to Google, or are we going someone else for this one?
This one's Azure we're using today, but we do have connectors for Google.
Cool. And so you sent me some more content, it sounds like, as well. So if I head up to my smart folder and look at
one's got some speech on it, so you could do a bit of text to speech on that. There's a video of you talking, Dave. So.
Exactly. So that's very, very handy, because it saves me typing in a whole pile of transcript. So what I'm going to do on this one, rather than tagging myself, I'm going to click the transcribe button and save that out. And then behind the scenes, what will happen is a CatDV worker will leap into action. You can see the notification going on. It's doing some transcoding. In fact, I think this notification stays at this point. I think that's just the way we've got this one set up. While it strips out the audio, makes it into a suitable stream to send up to Microsoft. So we do that using some of the Azure APIs. Microsoft transcribes it, gives us some markers back that we interpret and put back into CatDV. So this takes a little bit of time. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think we've got anything here yet. Let's have a look. Yeah, nothing's come back yet. Maybe it has now. The notification's gone. So I head over to our markers page. Maybe I'll refresh.
I think that one's still getting
moment.
data back at the moment on that one. So.
Not getting data back. Have we got anything else that's got?
Yeah. So if you have a look in the catalogues, there's one that one's just finished, by the way, I think. So if you want to look at that one, yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go back over there. My logging queue. Here we go. Markers. Cool. That's much better. Right. So what we can see is we've got a whole pile of speech to text gone on, and with our cool new player, I'm going to turn on my speech markers and press play, and you can see our captions appearing where each of these markers are. So there we go. So that's going quite nicely. Oh, CatDV. I mean, they are not in. We call them craptions a little bit. So they're pretty good for search, but they're not all that good if you want them to be super accurate. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that. So it's not CatDV on there. I'm just going to slide across, edit this. So I want to be able to make that be proper branding. CatDV. Cool. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to save that out. Head back in here, turn on my speech markers, press play, and then as we see the content playing, then hopefully we'll see that correction's been made and we've been able to fix up the AI translation for us. There we go. CatDV. Cool. So
we have got plugins where, if you had an export workflow or something, you could potentially get that out as well. So
very good. Well, thankfully, my career as a logger is now well and truly over. I don't think it's going to be my day job. I think there's plenty of people that'd be far better at it than me. So I'm going to hand back over at this point to our director.
Thanks, Dave. And what I wanted to show you now is sort of a bit of sort of browse and search now that we've got some content into our system. So that's the great thing about doing that text-to-speech AI on a clip is that metadata, that speech is now searchable. So I know, for example, that Dave used the word joke. He normally uses makes at least one cat joke in his webinars. So if in my search box at the top I type the word joke, then you'll see it's come back with the search result there. So there's a clip and it's pulled that up basically out of one of the logging fields as well. So this is how I can search. I can search based on the name of a clip. So I could put Dave in. I've got Dave talking. I could do it. I haven't got any. I could do it based on cats, or if I'm looking for a particular file, 2.jpg. Oops, don't forget my full stop. I could search based on that. The other thing that I can do is I can do an advanced search. So we have this concept of a search form. So, approval status, for example, is one of my metadata fields. You can customize this. So if there's particular metadata fields that are of interest to you, you can put different ones on the search form. So I can say, show me everything that's ready for approval, nothing, unfortunately. Or I can say, show me everything that's not approved, and it should come back with a big list of clips. So I can use this search form. Or if you hit the advanced search, you can completely define the search terms that you want, basically. So using any of the logging fields in here, you can actually build up sort of cumulative searches. So, I can say name equals this, plus it has to be a particular file type, or you can build up really complex searches. And when Dave was talking about the smart folders before, where we've got, for example, our logging queue, there's the two clips that he didn't quite finish logging. He didn't set the approval there, the logged flag there. Basically, what these smart folders are behind the scenes is they're just searches. So, if I look at one, this is just looking for any clips where logging equals ready for logging. So this is where you can really build up your sort of buckets of content that are of interest to either all of your users or just you specifically, because I can basically create private smart folders. So there's another smart folder here called Best Shots, and this one is basically looking for anything that's been given a 5-star rating. So because Dave gave this clip a 5-star rating, it comes up in that smart folder. So these are different from catalogs. Catalog, a clip is always in a catalog, whereas these smart folders are kind of refreshed dynamically every time you go into it, based on the search parameters that you've set up. So, okay, so thinking about my episode that I'm going to make, I want to start off with the logo. So I'm going to find logo. But how do I gather all the things that I want into my production? Well, I could put them in the catalog, or I could put them in something called a clip list. So if I create a clip list, the clip list is a sort of curated set of assets or clips. So on my where am I going to put it? On my footage assets, I'm going to create a new clip list. What should we call it? Material for episode 1, and this is where I can start to collect the things that I'm looking for. So I've now got this clip list here, and this is accessible in all our sort of panels and other bits of software as well. So if I go and find that logo again, I need to search for clip, and search for logo. So I've got the smoke logo and I've got the mosaic logo. What I can do is I can select both of those. So I can grab those two things there, and then I can say add to my clip list. So here's my clip list here, material for episode 1. So those two things have now been added to my clip list. The other thing that I can do is I can just browse using my catalog structure. So if in episode 1 I know I want all of these clips as well, then I can grab these as well, and I can say add those to my clip list. So you can see I'm now starting to build up material from a couple of different places. I've taken some things from my production assets, but I've also taken things from my footage production group. And if I look at my clip list material for episode 1, here I've started to gather all the things that I need ready for my edit. And this is where you can really collaborate and get somebody else to build up those sort of clips as well. And we have this sort of chat functionality that's been in CatDV for a while, but this can be quite useful. So I can send a direct message to Dave. So I can say, hi Dave, really need you.
Matt's typing behind him at the moment, so that's the box.
Oh, sorry. Let me hide that. Thank you. Wrong one. There we go. Really need you to hurry up logging these clips. So I can send him a message there, and I can also actually into the chat I can actually drag in a particular clip as well. So and when Dave gets that chat message, which he can show you later, he can actually just click on a link to that, and it'll take him straight to the clip. So I can send direct messages to a particular person, or you can also create these channels. So I've got this CatDV channel. I've also got a channel here called Fast Edit. So you can use these and subscribe to these as sort of a relevant, useful bit of content. And that's the way. So I've built up my sort of material for episode 1. So the next thing I'm going to do is start actually work on making my edit. So today we're going to use Premiere. Obviously we do support other NLEs. That's not the only one. We do have integrations for Avid and Final Cut specifically. Obviously, they all work in slightly different ways, so the integrations are slightly different. We've looked at some of these already on other webinars, but I'm going to start my new project in webinar in Premiere. So episode 1, I'm going to call this. And those of you that have seen the interface before already will have seen that we have this panel in Premiere so that I can access all of my material. So I've now logged into my CatDV server, but from within Adobe Premiere itself. And many of the functionalities that I have through the web interface, I can kind of get access to here as well. So I can perform searches, so I can look for that, that joke clip there, or I can, in my case, what I want to do is go to my clip list. So here I've got my material for episode 1, and I'm going to bring in these assets into my Premiere project. So here they all are, and I'm going to import those into my project. So I'll grab all of those bits and do a select all, and import those. And you'll notice what's going to happen at the moment is it's going to tell me that the high res are offline. So I'm on a remote server. I happen to be working from home today, so I don't have the high res media on my local machine or on a mapped drive. I suppose I could connect via VPN or something to get access to that media to do the render. Or it may be that I'm going to do the render back at base and I can just edit with the proxies. And we've been listening to your feedback. Those of you that have been following the webinars may remember that we very quickly added in the facility to our Premiere panel to download the proxy. So we're also looking at being able to download the high res through the same mechanism. Although speaking to some of our customers, they've already got a way of doing that. So I could just offline all of these files, and you'll see what the panel's now doing is it's actually downloading all of the proxies that I need for me behind the scenes. So even though I don't have access to the high res material, I've got the clips here, and I can see them, in the CatDV source monitor, because it's using the proxy that is downloaded to a local cache on my machine. And with that, effectively, what I can do is I can actually start to build up my timeline as I would do normally. So, I've got my cat clip in there. I'm going to make that a bit smaller. I'm sure you guys are much faster and better at editing with Adobe Premiere than I am, but I sort of just about find my way around. So let's get that end clip in. And I think, do you know what? I really, really need a shot, an outdoor shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my CatDV interface. I'm going to say, Dave, where are you? Dave, I really need an outdoor. I know you can't see what I'm saying, but because it's behind me again. But I'm going to say, Dave, I really need an outdoor shot. So hopefully Dave's not on the treadmill or whatever he does, when he's finished doing his logging. So let's see if he can provide me and furnish me with the goods.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. So this time I'm going to log in as Dave rather than Logger, thankfully. So let me in, please. Oh, it's true. Try again. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Let me in. Cool. And so I've logged in, and you can see I've got some notifications up here. So what I'm going to do is open up my chat bar, and I can see that, Matthew, blimey, 6 messages. He gets quite impatient, apparently. So here we go. Let me get myself out of the way so you can see what's going on. I can see the stuff that Matthew had sent in before, and these links to clips. And you really need an outdoor shot. So it's like, great. By lucky chance, I have got one that I prepared earlier. So I'm going to put one in. It doesn't really have an animal, but I'm going to call it a crocodile, because it seems to be that we're not all that good at being able to recognize animals ourselves in our logging. The camera op is obviously me. And I'm going to add a file. So it happens to be one that I've got in my photo library. I'm going to use this one. And I think, yes, we're going to then, oops, I didn't do that right, did I? Go to my photo library, all photos, this clip, done. Cool. So there it is, ready to go. And I could add more, but for the sake of brevity, I'm now just going to press the upload button, and there it goes. So we now have a great outdoor shot. It's a shot out of the window in my study up here in sunny Banbury. And there we go. So I've now put that in. I can say, okay, on it for a start. That's going to be cool. So obviously we know that I'm working on it. But then I want to put it somewhere where Matthew can find it, because I know, he needs a little bit of help from time to time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find this content. And if I'd been in a catalogue, it would have gone automatically into that catalogue. So didn't do that. In which case, it's gone automatically into my unfiled web uploads, which is kind of fine. What I'm going to do, though, is add that to the same clip list, because I know that that's where Matthew's working. And I'm going to head that over there. So can you put it? Oh, yeah, he nags, doesn't he? Look at that. Can you put it into my clip list? Sure. Yeah, why not? So here we go. Sure, it's there. Not logged, but it's in a hurry. So I'm just going to send that off straight away. There we go.
Right, I better finish my edit, Dave. Time's a ticking, as always. So back into my NLE, and if I refresh my clip list now, hopefully I can see that Dave's put this shot in. Didn't give it a name, did he? Classic Dave when he's logging. Right, let's bring that into my project. So I'm going to import that. It's not going to be able to grab the high res, but that's okay. I can offline it, and I can go and get the proxy for me. So it's brought that proxy down now. So from Dave's house to my house, I can now drop that into my Premiere project. Let's have a quick look at it. Crikey, yeah. Sunny where he is, anyway. Happy days. Right, so I finished that edit, and I'm going to render it out. And obviously I don't have the high-res media, so I guess normally I might send this back to back to the station, or do a render or connect to my VPN and go and get the high res media. But actually, Premiere is quite clever. It's going to let me do a render with the proxy. So what you could do is you could have a mezzanine format that comes down. So depending on your workflow, it could be that you could generate a Premiere proxy that could be downloaded, and you could use that for your render if it was of good enough quality. So I'm going to stick it in my downloads folder. What were we calling this? Episode 1. Let's call it final. I mean, I've got a very strict reviewer. He'll probably want some changes, but let's send it out anyway. So I'm going to do an export. Premiere is just exporting that out for me there. So off it goes. At least I didn't make that sequence too long, and you won't have to be kept waiting. So it'll end up in my downloads folder when it's finished. Now, the next step is I'm going to need to get this approved before we can send this out for transmission. And I'm going to do that through CatDV. So I think what I need is a new catalogue. So I'm going to create a new catalogue. Let's hide these messages with Dave. And I can do that here. I can just say create catalogue. And you'll see I've got a production group called Finished Assets. So I'm going to call this, what would we call it? CatDV Safari, Series 1. That'll be a good place for me to put my assets. So you'll see I've now got a new catalogue called Series 1 in Finished Assets. So I'm actually going to take that file that I rendered out from Premiere. I'm going to grab that, put it in there, and I'm going to upload that. So we're going to send that back to the CatDV system. Now, obviously, my upload form, I've just got the animal and camera op. You can have different upload forms configured for different roles. So, you might have a logger has a particular type of upload form with certain fields, whereas an editor or somebody else might have a different set of field set as well. So you can build that into the system. So you can see I get a nice little bit of progress. And as with all of my other workflows, as soon as this is finished uploading, it's going to create some film strips for me. It's going to create some proxies. And I should probably send this guy to archive as well. So I probably want to back that up once it gets into my catalogue. So hopefully the upload is finished. So I've got it in here. It's not approved and it's not archived. So let's just send it to archive. So in the same way, I'm going to schedule a copy to Amazon S3. You'll see I can't actually play this back at the moment. This is because we're still generating the proxy in the background. Oh, is it just finished? Let's have a look. Yeah, I've got a green light on my proxy now. So there we go. I mean, it didn't take too long to generate that proxy. And I think, well, I need to get some approval here. So I've got this little action button here. I'm going to say ready for approval. I'm going to save that clip. This time it's not Dave the logger. It's Dave the approver. And you'll see the status here is changed to ready to approval. So yeah, let's hand back to Dave.
Very good. So thank you very much. So I'm going to now head over and look at my phone interface. Look at that. So of course, I'm very busy. So I'm on my phone rather than on my iPad this time, and want to be able to take a look at the content. So I'm going to log in again. I'm going to use my approver login this time. Great. So here's CatDV running on my phone, and I've got it set up so I can see my smart folders. The capabilities are pretty similar, actually, on the phone to those on the iPad. The guys, particularly John's, done an amazing job, I think, of fitting a huge amount of information and sophistication into a phone-sized interface. One of the things we really wanted to do with Web3 was to make it powerful and not dumb it down, but also make it look super simple. So I think the team has done an amazing job, frankly. Extensive use of hamburgers to make stuff discoverables and dots to show that there's additional capabilities available. So big shout out, big thank you to all of those. But back to my approval job. So we can see I've got a smart folder going on here with an approval queue in it. And this smart folder is showing me the assets that are waiting for review. So episode 1 final, I can take a look at the metadata. Now, it hasn't been logged. I blame the logger personally. But then I've got a tab over here for approval. I can also have a chat running in my tab here. And so you can have conversations about a particular asset that could be all around how, around the approval process. So you can mark up spots and you could put markers into these chats. There we go. The best version yet. Thank you, Matthew. Of course it is. And so then I can play it, right? So I'll press play, and on the iPhone, what it does when you play and you're connected via HDMI is it just plays full screen. So behind me, you can see here is the video that Matthew just made. I think that lingered a bit too long on that shot, didn't it? Let's move on a little bit. I want to see these cats. Mudfish thing. There we go. Excellent. Oh yeah, great. Garden shot. Yeah, cheerleader's dream, that trampoline thingy. Cool, right, okay, anyway, so we've got our content. I've got my approval tab. You can see I've got the options here, and I really like it. Just wait for the Oscar. Brilliant. And so what I'm going to do now is save that out. And when I do a refresh, that will disappear from my approval queue, so there's no more things for me to do. And at that point, I could send a chat message, or even CatDV could send an email or a notification to the director to say what's going on. We haven't set any of those up. So I could just send a chat message. Maybe I'll just do that and send a direct message to Matthew saying, looking great. Or shot looking great even. Shot looking great. Approved, over to you. Cool. And I'll ping that off. There we go. Great. So I guess that is back over to you, Matthew.
Thanks, Dave. And it pinged up to tell me I've got a new message. So there we go. From the approver. It sounds very very official with a username of the approver, doesn't it? So you see, I've got these nice coloured labels here to show me that the approval status is there. So, and again, as we talked about, we could have different workflows here. So, I could have another action. I could go into here and I could trigger an action. I might have another one to say deliver to Playout, or deliver to Dropbox, or we've got lots of different plugins. We've not done that today, but what I can do is CatDV has a built-in external sharing functionality. So if people can access my server, I can actually share this, so I can send it out to somebody. So when I have this clip, I can go to the sharing menu up at the top here, and I can say share link. So Dave's got so many roles today, he'll be confused as to which one he's doing at any given time. But I'm going to send it to Dave again, so dave@squarebox.com. Now, when I create a shared link, I can actually give this an expiry date. So I can say, is this a permanent link? Have they got 3 days to review it? 3 days. And when they do as well, I can say whether they can download the original media, they can only download the web proxy, or whether they can't download the media. So in this case, I'm going to choose that, but I'm going to say here is the final approved version of episode 1. And when I do that, what it's going to do is it's going to generate these URLs for me. So I can take one of these URLs and I can paste that in the Slack chat. You can't see my Slack, but it's on another screen. But I'll send that over to Dave, and he should then be able to view that final approved screen. And now you have to remember, he's not, it might be somebody external, so they don't have a login to the CatDV system, but they can just take that link and view it.
Very good. So hopefully this is my laptop now. Okay, so this is the URL I just got given. So clearly we could have sent that as an email, just in the interest of privacy and not showing our Slacks and emails on the broadcast. We've not done that. But this is the link that I was given, and I am not logged in deliberately. So this is a shareable link. It's expilable, so you can go into the back end of CatDV and say, hey, just take that away right now, or make it automatically go away as a link within a week or something. And we can see we've got some approval notes that the approver put in. We've got the name. We can obviously configure the stuff that we show on this page. And there we go. I'm able to go and play the content, scrub the content, take a look at our muddy fish and all of that kind of cool stuff. So Yeah, so I mean, and of course, this is a very, very simplified delivery workflow, right? So we're doing a shared link to a web copy of it. We could have another automation that, for example, integrates with Vantage. We've got a great new plugin through our colleagues at North Shore that is pretty much ready, and we'll be doing a webinar on that in the coming weeks. So we could send the master file out to a Vantage to go and do some cool stuff with it, could go and deliver it to places. And North Shore chums have also got an amazing product, Dub, DHUB, Distribution Hub, which again makes use of Vantage, but for high volume workflows can to send content from CatDV out to a load of endpoints and track where it is and all of that kind of cool stuff. It's a really good companion product. But what I will do is I'm going to bring up that little graphic again. I know it's over the top, but what we've been able to do is to see in this short demo, I guess, our ability to plan, ingest, tag, find, create, approve, and deliver content, all using our Web3 interface, and hopefully that's been interesting in terms of the main content, particularly for those folks that have been used to CatDV or familiar with CatDV as a desktop client or desktop client-oriented product, and we really aren't any longer. Another thing that you might have noticed, and how we're collaborating, so clearly we've got a shared CatDV system. We are running, I promised we weren't going to talk about technical stuff, but we are running this in a cloud server. It's running in Docker containers using some of the cool new stuff that we announced about cloud deployments at our NoNAB launch a month or so ago. And so we happen to use Packet. We could be using S3. We're using Packet because of their relationship with Backblaze, B2, and we have a webinar coming up with them in a couple of weeks as well. So Docker container running a server, Docker container running a CatDV worker, and all of that stuff has been configured, obviously, from our homes, and our workflows are all happening from lockdown locations. So essentially, I think that is our content that we wanted to show. So let me head back over to our PowerPoint, and I'll just quickly head over to our last page. So as ever, we have a You Can Book Me set up. I have got the wrong link in there. We have You Can Book Me set up. I'm sure Hannah will correct us on what that is in just a second. So anybody that wants to find out any more following this webinar about CatDV Web 3 and how you can use it, those folks who are on maintenance get it for free or as part of the already paid money, if you like. So if you want to find out more, then let us know, and you can book up a slot with us on our calendar for next week. And a small plug for next week's webinar is going to be about an introduction to fields, panels, and views with CatDV. So we haven't run one of these for a while, but we like to run some kind of mini education sessions. We've had quite a lot of news coming out in our webinars so far. This one's going to be about, well, just how do I get started with fields, panels, and views, and setting up the kind of system that Matthew's been running us through today. So then just before questions, I do want to say a massive thank you to Matthew. It was quite fun setting this thing up. We just did it this morning, right? So one of CatDV's strengths is that it is quite possible to set up some fairly sophisticated workflows reasonably quickly, particularly if you know what you're doing. And that is quite different from some of the other products out there. So this demo system we set up this morning, and you can see the kind of thing that can be created with our services team and our partner services teams in reasonably short order. So thank you very much, Matthew. It was fun, and that worked well. So thank you. Okay, so then Hannah, would you help us out? If folks do have questions, then please do go ahead and ask them now.
Yes, of course. So we've had some questions come in already. Just a reminder, there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window if you would like to send in any more. And just one more thing before we start the questions. The You Can Book Me link for this week is catdv-web3.youcanbookme. I will put that into the chat window now, and I'll also include it in the link that goes in the the mailer tomorrow. So our first question came in, I think, roughly about the time we were doing uploading. So somebody is asking, is the upload to the CatDV server using a file accelerator like a Square or Signiant, or is it just depending on your home internet upload speed?
Yeah, that's a good question. So at the moment we're just using normal HTTP upload. So it just uses HTTP over port 80. If an organization does have a file accelerator, then we have a plugin for Aspera, and that's a service-based plugin that is compatible with our Pegasus server systems. And so that uses Aspera Connect, I think, and that's deployed at some of our larger customers for file acceleration. So if you have a particular file acceleration preference, then do talk to us. We try, as we said in last week's webinar, with our customization capabilities, we do try to be very well connected. I think we are well over 100 integrations, so yes, talk to us and book up on you can book me about your specific needs, and we're happy to talk. And if we find something that we think would be a SKU that other people, a product essentially that other people would want to buy, then we don't have to do it as a service. We can do it essentially as a very discounted service or a pay to build to order product if we think we can sell it elsewhere. So let us know. The product grows massively because of the feedback and the needs of our customers. So we'd love to hear what you're thinking about.
Thank you. The next question was partially answered towards the end. So are you able to share a clip or a catalogue with a specific user instead of the whole production group? So I think you showed us sharing a clip, but are you able to share a group of clips or a catalogue?
Yeah, so there's a couple of answers to that, I guess. When in the simple permissions model, then if you're a CatDV user, then the visibility of clips is controlled by your user role, and that is based on production group. If you have the Pegasus server functionality, then we have something called ACLs, access control lists, which allows you much more finer grained control over who can see what within a given production group. So it could be, for example, that an approver could only see clips that had a metadata status of ready for approval. That could be set up. It does need Pegasus, and it does require a bit more initial setup. The other way that people do that in a more simple way is they might have a separate production group just for approvals. So, they put a clip into a particular catalog on a production group that only the approvers. But yeah, as you said, Hannah, as well, when we share it out externally, then anybody that has that external link until it expires can access that without a CatDV login.
Excellent, thank you very much. So the next question is, can CatDV kick off an email to prompt somebody that there is a new clip being ingested or a new chat comment?
Yeah, I think sort of Dave touched on it briefly, but basically when I'm setting these actions here, what this is doing is setting metadata fields, so ready for logging or ready for approval. With the worker behind the scenes, you can monitor for that status changing, and then you could absolutely send off an email to an email address or a group of email addresses to say that, yeah, there was a clip ready for approval.
Excellent. The next question, and correct me if I've got the wrong end of the stick, but can a user be connected to different roles which are connected to different production groups?
It's a good question. It comes up quite a bit. Basically, in CatDV, the permissions model is a user has a role. A role can have access to multiple production groups, though. So a user can't have multiple roles, but they could have a role that allows them access to multiple production groups.
Excellent. And I think we have got time for one more question, which is, can you run CatDV Web via HTTPS?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I know. Yes, do that. You shouldn't not.
We didn't, but we're in a hurry.
So apart from our demo that we set up today, where we didn't want to get into putting certificates into the right place on the web server and all of that, absolutely yes, we should be using HTTPS. And whoever spotted that got beady eyes. Well done.
Wonderful. I think that's all we've got time for today. If you've got any other questions, please send them into sales@squarebox.com, and we will have one of our team get in touch with you. Otherwise, thank you all for taking time to join us today, and we hope to see you again soon at one of our upcoming webinars.
Wonderful. Thank you all for your time again. Cheers.
Nice to see you all again. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
CatDV.